Schweiz, in Deutschland, they were already prescribing another one called Ritalin. Now, I started to see red, and all the memories from the first day I joined the company as a salesman, it all started to come back. And I started seeing shadows at night. People dying from taking medication that was legalized because I had bribed the Swedish government to get the Sulasong for Prozac in Sweden. Now, can you imagine that? Sweden is reputedly one of the cleanest, most transparent countries in the world. They have the Nobel Prize of Medicine. And what I didn't think of at the time, the Americans, my friends were talking about them. Sorry, Jim. They love the prestige of the Nobel Prize. That is why it was important for them to get the registration of Prozac in Sweden. That was one of the major things that I did, because the company told me, your career may depend on it. Now, I can't go through all the items of corruption I've been involved in. It's too many. I'll have to spend a couple of weeks here. But you can read about it in my book that's selling over there. It's called Nebenwirkung Tod. It's in German, and the English version last week is now as an e-book for any of you who might be interested in that. Now, as my colleague Rima was referring to earlier in her speech, what is the pharma industry doing to us? They're the most powerful industry in the world. They sleep in the same bed with governments. They use corruption to get what they want. Corruption involves money. Cool. They have lots and lots and lots of money, and that is how they make their money. Now, they also kill more people than the wars we have in the world. But long term, they punish you and then they kill you. And that has to stop. We need, according to the way things are today, we need the pharma industry because there are some good things out there. Sorry, Rima, I might be contradicting everything you said, but there are some things there that is good, but most of it is rubbish. They're not interested in curing any disease you may have. They're more interested in making you get diseases. They're interested in symptomatic treatment. They want patients who are diabetics, cardiology patients, Parkinson's disease, rheumatoid arthritis, arthrosis, because you live a long time and the drugs that you have to take, you take that for the rest of your life. So let me ask you the question. Is there anybody in here that can tell me when was the last time you heard or read that a pharma company has come with something that cures a disease? I give you €100 right now if you tell me. They don't cure anything, they make you sick. Now, this company that I talked about, the Eli Lilly and Company, remember that name. They have been doing this for years and years and years. 3 weeks ago, I received a mail. I get alerts on whatever is happening in the industry from various places. Eli Lilly and Company was fined Strafgeld by the Justice Department in Pennsylvania, in America. $1.4 million for one product that I have written about in this book 2 years ago. That product was used to treat It was a neuroleptic, a psychodrug that was approved to be used on schizophrenics. So this company wasn't satisfied with that. They went and sold the drug to old people's home because they say it wouldn't cost so much to be there in this home because you give them this pill and the old people will sleep. So the workers wouldn't have any problems at night. But what they didn't figure on was that this drug had the side effects, which, by the way, before it came out, they had hidden under the table. The side effects, a lot of people died of heart failure, kidney problems and whatever. And then there was some speculation going on because the patients that received this drug, it's called Zyprexa, the patients that received this drug also got diabetes. And who is the largest diabetes medication producer in the world? Eli Lilly and Company. So, speculating. So they were taken to court and they were fined. It's the largest strafgeld in the history of the nation. Now there are a couple of other companies that were fined heavily for other drugs in the pharma industry. And these are huge companies. But it never came out. You know why? Because the press works also with the pharma industry just like the government does. And I was surprised because the Germans, they say, yeah, we write about all these things and whatnot, but they didn't write about this one. The pharma companies use the media to implant its dirty work on you. You never get to know the truth until it's too late. You have to raise your awareness to a higher level. Don't take for granted what your doctor is telling you, because the doctors these days, let's say during my working half of my life, they don't know much about medicine. And they don't care much about their patients. They think about how much they can get paid. And this is how the pharma industry reigns, stays in power. They buy the doctors. They pick them up when they're in medical school, 4th year, 5th year, pay their tuition, train them. Because the doctors don't get information from anywhere else except the pharma industry. And I know, because when I was a salesman, the pharma company used to tell me, never talk side effects. They taught us something called FAB, F-A-B, features, advantages, and benefits. Don't talk about side effects, that's taboo. I also know that they hide the dangerous side effects because I was in charge of a clinical study for Fluctine or Prozac. When the doctors came rushing into my office one day because we were running a small trial in one of the largest hospitals in Stockholm. The first week they started the trial, 2 of the patients tried to commit suicide. And this is a major side effect of these psychotropic drugs. They call them the SSRIs, selective serotonin reuptake inhibitor. That's a long fancy. It's called akathisia. The pharma industry, by law, is not obliged to give out information like that. Their friends in Washington made sure of that. Do you know that George Bush's father was on the board of directors of Eli Lilly and Company? One of the political advisors in the George Bush administration, a guy called Mitch Daniels, he was a vice president with Eli Lilly. Do you know that Rumsfeld, he was a vice president in the pharma industry. My boss, former boss, the guy who was 2 steps ahead of me. He was the vice president in London. He later became the CEO and chairman of the board of Eli Lilly and Company. He was made a member